All experience is led by heart-mind, born of heart-mind, made of heart-mind. Mind is the forerunner of all experience. Act or speak from a defiled or tarnished, corrupted, soiled state of heart-mind, and suffering follows, as a cartwheel follows the hoof of the ox, or as the bicycle follows the stroke of the pedal. All experience is led by heart-mind, born of heart-mind, made of heart-mind. Mind is the forerunner of all experience. Act or speak from a pure state of heart-mind, and happiness follows as your shadow follows you without departing. Gradually expanding the field of awareness, bringing movement into the body, small stretches, big stretches, standing up if that feels good. Knowing that one can cultivate awareness in any posture. Welcome to Spiritual Friends Sangha. Rick, may I ask you to read that, and then we'll do a round of introductions, and I'll hand the mic and the camera over to Brian. Oh, here, let me give you this. Thanks so much for being here, BK. I really appreciate it. Great.
Hello, my name is Brian Kimmel. I go by BK. And I appreciate the pronouns. Public facing, I usually use he, but I do appreciate they, them. And I use the Indonesian pronoun, dia, which is actually gender neutral, but it occurs usually with honorifics and your kind of role in society, whether it be auntie or uncle or teacher or friend. And I'm joining here today from the colonized lands known as, it's colonized named Seattle, and the Coast Salish people have been here for a very long time and have stewarded this land. So I appreciate this space being offered. Can everybody hear me okay? Or I don't know if you enable CC, the closed caption. That's all right. But and how much time do we have? We have
at in an hour, we'll start to move towards closing. In an hour and 5 minutes.
So I'd like to continue as, and I really appreciate this space, and thank you for the invitation to be here. I was taken back to a time when I was at a retreat in California once, not far from the Bay Area. And instead of going to the Dharma talk, I stayed behind at the dining hall, and I took out all the chairs and the tables from the dining hall and swept the dining hall. And that was my, I guess that was my form of a Dharma talk. And I was reminded that I had a little bit of challenging time this afternoon as I was considering this practice together. Not because I don't like any of you, but Sangha can be very challenging at times, and the practice in of itself, it can bring up challenges, and I think by its very nature, it is practice, or what I might say as practice is meant to be stirring. It's not something that can hold us in complacency. That's not what the life of the Buddha was about. And some people, including the teacher Ambedkar, Dr. Ambedkar, had written the story of the Buddha's life as a way of peacemaking, that the Buddha left his clan and his people and his community in order to prevent war. And so it was an act of community building and an exercise of exertion to leave one's community, not necessarily to seek the truth, but to help the community in its practice and its form building to maintain peace and to cultivate peace. And I appreciate that framing of the practice because it means that I get to do something, that practice isn't something that is static, it's something that is alive. And when I think about what practice means to me, it means to come back to that natural arising in myself if I can avail myself to it, to strive maybe, to pursue maybe, to, in what we call, go to a refuge that will help me to cultivate this sort of awareness that can help liberate not only myself but my people from harm and suffering, and to protect us from harm in generations and years to come. So I begin with this as a meditation for our own aspirations. What brought you here today? That's a question. And take a moment to consider that for yourself. What brought you here today? Is it some kind of inclination inside of you? Is it an expectation? What is it that brought you here? Just take a moment to reflect upon that, if that feels right for you. If you can put this into words, or if you feel compelled to make a gesture, a move, and to share with others, what would you say, or how would you move, or how would you describe this noticing, so that others can bear witness to it? And if you'd like to share, I just want to open up just a little bit, if we can, just if anyone would like to share what brought you here today. So thank you, everyone, for sharing. We'll come back to this, and I hope that we can continue to nourish this ideal of considering our practice. Sometimes when we we're trained to, when we go down to, I was going to go down to sit, or whatever posture you're taking in practice, whether it's practice in your daily life or some kind of what you might call formal practice, sitting meditation or walking meditation, incense offering, whatever it might be. Sometimes you might consider for yourself, okay, what brings me here today, whether it's with a core aspiration. But that question sometimes can help you to frame your time and what you're doing in your life with your energy, and I've known that to be very helpful for myself. So today, and this is what I usually open up when we start to learn about chanting, and I am a chanting practitioner in our community. One, because I love to sing, and the way I consider the use of chanting in my practice is that it is an embodied practice, and that it is a practice that comes from my heart. It comes from my voice, which is also part of my practice. And I like to say that some people grew up or had a time in their life where they were taught that their voice wasn't valued, or that your voice didn't sound good, or don't sing, or don't speak up. And what I like to say when I'm offering chanting or singing is, sing louder. You use your voice, because there's nothing like it. And when you match that practice of singing, chanting with your voice and your aspiration, it becomes a very powerful and healing meditation, not only for other people who experience the vibration of your practice, and for yourself. And we know that certain vibrations help heal us and resource us in the moment, but they can also, when we sing together, we breathe together. When we breathe together, we can heal together. And that's a very important practice in any time, and especially in times of crisis and conflict and the arising of suffering, because then we can come back together and practice together and resource with each other. So I want to offer this chanting, and I think could we share the document? Should I share the document? Should I send it over to you, or do you want me to share screen?
If it's available publicly, yeah, why don't you go ahead and put it in the chat, and then you won't have to worry about sharing it or whatever.
Okay. Because
is it lyrics? Is it the words?
It's the words, but it's not available publicly, the document. So maybe I'll just
screen share.
Okay, well, I hope it doesn't mess up things if I screen share, but if I can screen share, then we'll share it.
Yeah, and then we won't see your face over here for a minute, or while we're reading, but we'll hear you.
Send request. Okay, I sent a request. The words aren't as important because we're gonna repeat them, and we're going to learn it bit by bit, and it's a repetition. I wanted to start with something basic. And that is the refuge chant. And the version that I share is in both English and Pali. And and then also in the Devanagari, in the Sanskritam, for those who know that and read that, we use language in Buddhism. Language is used in Buddhism to transmit certain principles with then that, so that practitioners can embody the practice for themselves and find that resource of the three jewels in them. So this practice, often we say, you may have heard it, particularly in the Plum Village tradition, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. And I want to, again, reframe it and maybe work with the translation a little bit so that it's closer to the meaning that is the gesture of what it means to take refuge. It's actually something that you do. And I use the word pivot quite a lot as a neuro-informed counselor, where you put your attention to something. And so you pivot or you turn toward the Buddha. And I like to say that Buddha, you can think of the Buddha as a person. You could think of the Buddha as an energy. And originally we used the word Buddha because it means awakening or enlightening, coming into awareness of something, and turning toward it, going toward it. And so when we say, I take refuge in the Buddha, it's really like I go to the Buddha for refuge. And I like to include the Buddha as also being our own awakened nature. So you can take that awareness wherever you go, no matter in what experience you are and can take refuge because there's that light and that Buddha nature in you. So this first verse, Buddham Saranam Gacchami, you may have heard it, and I'll just use the very basic monotone. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. When you look at the structure of the words, it all aligns to going. Gach, the root is to go. Gach, and it matches the case of saranam, which is like a refuge or an abode. But we already explained as awakening our nature, and you turn toward that, and you go in that direction in mind, speech, body, spirit. So I'd like to call and response maybe, and maybe we can call and response with people in the space, and then if the people online could stay muted, because then we don't have the interference, and I apologize that I won't get to hear your beautiful voices, but I think the energy will transmit through the ethos, and I'm glad that we have Zoom capability at the moment, because some folks aren't. There's some kind of outage or something. Is that okay? We do call and response with folks in the space? Okay. So connect with that aspiration in you. Connect with that energy of practice in you. And you might close your eyes if that feels right. And I'm saying this to everybody. Please chant as you feel called. And chant as loud as you want, as quiet as you want, and that's up to you. So the words again, we'll just start with this first awakening. Buddham Saranam Gacchami.
Buddham Saranam Gacchami.
And again, Buddham saranam gacchami.
We chant with you, BK. Sorry.
Oh, you did you just chant with me?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it together then. Okay. we don't want to be separate. Okay, we'll be together. Okay. Buddham saranam gacchami. Keep doing it. Buddham saranam gacchami, and feel the resonance in yourself. Buddham saranam gacchami. You feel the vibration, the physical vibration. Buddham saranam gacchami. Again. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami, and feel the vibration around you. Buddham saranam gacchami. 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 Wonderful. Take note of how that feels for you. Take note of what you notice around the room or in this Zoom space together. We want to move on, and I'll ask for questions or clarifying after we chant the whole sequence. The next part, it's a replication. So again, we're creating an abode, or thinking or turning toward the abode within us and around us, or creating that abode or that refuge. Gacham, we go toward it. Dhammam could be translated as teachings or knowledge or awareness or life-giving teachings, however you want to think of it. And it also doesn't just mean Buddhist teachings. You could expand it to think of the spiritual traditions and other traditions that have supported your practice through the generations and will continue to. So that is your own Dharma or Dhamma. So the phrase is Dhammam saranam gacchami, and together. Dhammam saranam gacchami. 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 gacchami. Again, notice inside, notice outside, notice in the space together in the Zoom, notice in the space in your practice center. The third is the Sangham. And again, you turn toward this community. In the Plum Village tradition, often we say community that lives or aspires to live in harmony and awareness. Sangham, Saranam, Gacchami. It also means this capacity to live together and this awareness of community that lives in you. Together we can chant Sangham Saranam Gacchami. 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 Again, notice inside, notice outside, around you, in the physical practice center, in the Zoom center. And if you would like, we can practice with the English version. But except for when we do the English version, we still use Pali or Sanskritam for Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and it can adapt. You can adapt it in any language if you like. Sometimes it loses some of the power because of English isn't the same kind of tonal language that carries certain resonances, so it might not feel as good, but you can try. But so the words, I'm going to change them actually. Instead of starting with I go to the refuge, I go to the Buddha for refuge, I'm going to say, I'm going to try to write it in, I can't write it in the chat. I'm going to write it to you, Julie, and then, okay. I already have it up there, but I'm going to say.
I don't see it.
You don't see it?
No. Do you see it at the Sangha?
I don't see it in the Sangha, no. But you might have to.
I don't think you're sharing it.
No, I'm not. I'm sharing it to you because the chat isn't available.
Okay. I see.
To the Buddha, I go for refuge. We're gonna say the what we're going for refuge first. To the Dharma, or use the Pali of that. To the Dharma, I go for refuge. To the Sangha, I go for refuge. Okay. So let's try the English version, and we'll try it also in a monotone. Oh yes, is there?
I have a question for you and for the group. How would it be, BK, to use we as the pronoun?
We
can say no, of course.
We can try. You want to try it with we first?
I was enjoying doing that with some earlier today when I was offering, just like, I feel like there's just so much divisiveness, and bringing that energy in can already have a little bit of healing in it to feel how we're in it together.
Sure, that's a great transliteration, yeah. So to the Buddha we go for refuge. To the Buddha we go for refuge. So let's try it on that top. To the Buddha we go for refuge. 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 Let's try the Dharma. To the Dharma we go for refuge. 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 To the Sangha. To the Sangha we go for refuge. 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 Notice inside, notice outside around you, in the practice center, in the physical space, and in the Zoom space. So great. That is the practice with the Three Refuges, and it can be adapted with any pronoun you'd like to use in any language, and play around with the level. Like if you wanted to have the vibration in your head, then you have to kind of change the note. If you want it more in the chest, you can have it change the notes also. What I find in each of the languages, you kind of have to adapt also how you chant it to find the resonance and vibration, because every language is different.
So again, just say no, Gussie. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
But as I heard you, BK, and I know that in the space we have some languages that are native speakers of languages other than English. I wonder if it would be supportive to play with that, since we have the gift of that in Sangha, and then maybe not, but that just arose in my heart.
Do we have translations?
You interested or no? I wonder if folks who speak their native tongues other than English, if they would be interested in finding in their own hearts and minds, and on the spot, and of course it could be no, because that's not comfortable. A translation, you obviously don't have to translate Buddha Dhamma Sangha, but is there a translation that is resonant in your own body for going for refuge, or returning to, or pivoting, or moving toward some of the languaging that BK offered instead of refuge? Turn toward, pivot toward, maybe return or move or go toward, and maybe not. I'm not attached to it, just arose, so I offer it.
So in Spanish, it would be voy al refugio, al Buddha, al Dhamma, y a la Sangha. And for some reason, la, it's like feminine, but it wouldn't be proper to say in a masculine way. I don't know. I didn't make the Spanish language up.
It's warmth in it for it to be feminine, right?
So it'd be voy al refugio, al Buddha, al Dhamma, y a la Sangha.
Are there other languages in the space that would want to just give voice to them? No request, just an opportunity. Thanks for being open to that, BK. That seems to be the only language from the space.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually don't like to chant in English. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't carry the meaning that chanting in I prefer Sanskritam actually, just because I'm more familiar with it and it's closer to my cultural background in Indonesia. But Pali also works. But that's something to think about. Like all of the Buddhist teachings that we know is a transliteration. It's put into words by people who have carried on the tradition since the time of the Buddha. It comes with, as all human things do, it comes with our biases, including in the biases of the language that are, for instance, like in the Sanskrit, which the Buddha discouraged putting the teachings in Sanskritam because it was a caste-based language and only accessible to certain people and knowledges. And quite frankly, today to study Sanskrit is very difficult, not to find a teacher that isn't of particular backgrounds. So it's it can be limiting, but I think that also we're in a place where we have to think about how we're going to transmit the teachings in the future generations. And if we're in a generation that is playing with pronouns, for instance, across languages, I mean, that's an undertaking. To think about how we put a gender neutral spin on something that has inherently been practiced that is gendered, such as the language of Sanskrit. When you chant in Sanskrit, it's a gendered language, including gender neutral. So in order to translate Buddham Saranam Gacchami, you would have to translate it into a form that could make sense, but there's certain rules and guides to that. So I think that's the importance of when we discover our own practice and when we are led by our inclinations toward practice, that we take care in learning how the teachings have come to us and from where the teachings have come to us. Like there's a generation of practitioners who are owning and retelling the story of the Buddha's mother, for instance, and of the lineage of women and those assigned female at birth within the Buddhist tradition from the time of the Buddha that have in some ways been forgotten. And so we have to do the archaeological and anthropological work in order to discover these stories, including in the birthplace of the Buddha, which is also torn apart because of political and national lines. So this study is really valuable and important, and we should be encouraged by these generations, our generations, that we are discovering new ways to practice with teachings that have gone on for generations, and that we're finding a way to continue them. So take heart. Every time you recite this chant, you are entering into the lineage of the Buddha, which was a family. When we say Shakyamuni Buddha, it's the Buddha from the Shakya clan, from the Shakya family. That is a genetic lineage. And when you ordain in the family, you ordain whether it's as a monastic or non-monastic, you ordain in the family of the Buddha, which means that you become a family member of the Buddha of the Shakya clan, which is really a fascinating practice. And to think that someone like Ambedkar, who he was a visionary, who he was responsible for largely for crafting and conceptualizing and writing the constitution of the nation of India. And he was also forefront in mobilizing the country to look at the caste system, and had ordained thousands of practitioners into Buddhism as a way to relieve the suffering of the caste system of those who were Dalit, or so-called untouchables. So we have these visionaries who are celebrated and who have been looking at the teachings in numerous ways in order to bring this light of social justice and equity that is inherent in the Buddhist practice. So take heart, and if you ever feel despaired, you know that the refuge of the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha are a part of you, not just something external that you are forced to believe or adapt. It's the nature of the teachings to integrate them into your own life. Okay. So I do like to, if we have a little moment, I do like to offer up a time just for any questions or sharings, because also for accountability reasons, like everything that I share, I'm responsible for my words, and and Augusta, the beautiful sharing of the 5 remembrances, which I can't always stomach. It was really enlightening this evening to hear them said in such a way that I can be able to practice with them, and thank you for your teaching and your offering. So if there's any questions or clarifying things, please do ask if we can in the chat, or if we have a moment just for that, or any sharings. It could be of the evening and what you notice.
Would you prefer chat over voice, or just offering chat in addition?
Either.
Watch the mind say its own things. I have some ideas about things, and feel it in my body, the vibrations of taking refuge together in the language in which the teachings of the Buddha were originally written down. This has been chanted all over the world for 2,600 years. That's really cool. And BK, you're lifting up and naming that we are now siblings, those of us who have taken refuge, siblings of Shakyamuni Buddha. Like, woohoo! That feels so good in my body. And it's like, all right, BK, you and I are siblings. Like, to hold that and feel that and know that truth, and to name in all of that things are other than as I would have them be. Like I would love for the lineage of nuns not have been dropped, and as the bringing back up of the Theravada lineage of nuns, for that not to have met resistance. Like I would prefer that. I would prefer for people to be able to rise up to the moment of the occasion, for more than just this moment, but certainly this moment of 2025, and move away from the gender binary. Like, what if we didn't have to be stuck in this notion and this idea? And whose business is it? Ain't nobody so I love that conversation can be here, and we can all be where we are. We can all be where we are with it. Something that I've been practicing, another sibling that BK and I share is Kim Fleischer, And I first heard the language of the polycrisis from Kim, and it just landed for me. It's like, there's this thing, and then there's this thing, and there's this thing. Just there's so many things that are wrong and worthy of that feeling of crisis, needing care and attention. And that language worked for me. It might not work for everyone. And then something that I found myself, I didn't feel it tonight, and no need for anyone to do anything differently, but I did find myself, I don't remember who said it, but someone said something like these dark times. It was slightly different language. And I could feel inside of me like the opulence and privilege that like you haven't suffered difficulty until now. Like, it's like, I don't know that there's been a time since humans have been on this planet when people haven't been suffering dark times. It's fucked up shit. Like there's a reason, you know, those of you who are used to me are used to the mouth. And if you're not used to it and it doesn't work for you, there's lots of places to go. So please, you do you. There's a reason that there's a reason that as Shakyamuni Buddha realized enlightenment and spoke to the truth that they were awakening. Like Buddha was super clear, like, I didn't figure this out. I'm uncovering a path that's just gotten grown over. I love that image. If you spend any time in the woods, specifically up where BK lives in the Pacific Northwest, it's so dense. Stuff grows over so quick because it's so wet. And Indonesia is like that, and parts of India are like that. It's just, it's forest. It's not San Francisco, right? And so if the path hasn't been being trodden or traveled upon for a while, it grows over. And Siddhartha Gautama, thanks to his dedication to practice, thanks to his sacrifice, revealed it again or showed it again or whatever your verb might be in there. And one of the things that was given voice because of that journey that he endeavored was the Four Noble Truths. Noble truths. And what's the first one? There is suffering. Dukkha. It didn't go anywhere. It wasn't like born in this moment of 2025. It wasn't born 2,600 years ago. Like, yeah. And why? Because of greed, aversion, delusion. Because we're completely confused and we're super greedy and then we don't like shit. All right, so that's not out of my mouth for a moment, but I'm thrilled that you joined Spiritual Friends Sangha today, BK. Thank you so much. And I love the co-creation of space and your interest and my interest in bringing in as many voices as are inspired to be brought into the space. That feeling, that experience of community, being here together, it gives me hope. And it makes my heart sing, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, and all my selfing gets in the way, and then I get to see it, and maybe it can get a little smaller, and it's really annoying. I'd love for that not to ever happen again, and just that's not where I am. That's just not where I am. All right, that's enough out of me for a moment. Anybody else over in Zoom want to give voice? I love the prompt, BK. Yeah, BK, the way you broke down the translation of Sarang Gacchami was really supportive, the turning toward the pivot, that I can feel that in my body. Yeah, I don't know that I landed on other words for refuge because of both just made me think of vihara. I'm like, no, it's not vihara. What is that? What is that? Like, yeah, I love when something is able to be not stagnant, alive, like you said. Thank you for that piece. Any other voices? BK, do you want to offer any closing words before we move into the standard?
No, I actually feel like being quiet, which is a nice feeling. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for being here, Brian. I really appreciate it.
Gratitude to everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really interested in creating spiritual friends Sangha, a community of friends journeying the path together. However, we are journeying the path together. And one of my aspirations in that is to not always be in the leadership position, right? It's like, because I don't know, I don't have the answers. I just have my experience to offer. And so Brian being willing to come in and share that, it was like, okay, we can be in spiritual friendship and learn more specifically from people who aren't here in San Francisco, and specifically from people who have a different experience of life than I do, right? BK's not going through the world as a straight white cis woman. Right? So you get a little BK wisdom. Maybe sometimes you put that on, but we're getting a different lived experience of the Dharma, of the Buddha, of the Sangha, because of BK's generosity this evening. Yeah, and maybe BK will come back. We'll have to talk about it. The invitation is certainly there. And we were also exploring the possibility of BK coming into the space in person when they're already in the area for something else. So BK and Noam are having that conversation, and BK and I will continue the conversation to see if they want to come back into the space here for us. And I'm in conversation with some other teachers to keep, building the Spiritual Friends Sangha, and we'll navigate how does this work to have the Zoom and the space and all that. And since it's already a hybrid Sangha, it's like, it might be nice, a little bit more equity to have the leader or the teacher over there in Zoom, right? You can hold a Zoom space better on Zoom than you can if you're sitting over here in a circle. So really, so much gratitude for that. Yeah. So I'll just take it. Coming back, bringing your heart and your friends. It was a beautiful moment to see you come out of the bathroom and stop. I was like, oh, I can just walk. I don't have to rush. I just saw that switch, and it brings me so much love and joy. It's like this idea of just meeting in silence rather than with a start. It's a little bit of an edge for me. And I was liking how it worked out. I was uncomfortable. I got to sit in my discomfort instead of you feeling my discomfort as with whatever would come out of my mouth. And we were here, and slowly people arrived in the timing that worked for them, in the way that worked for them, with what was alive in their moment, in their life. And that's a gift already, right? It's a gift that we give ourselves, and when we give the Sangha, they were okay just as we are. Instead of some rigidity and structure, you're supposed to look like this, that just makes me crazy. So that was a beautiful moment. Yeah. So deep gratitude to everyone. Just your presence, it's enough. And then we co-emerge, we co-arise. The first time we met, 5 or 6 weeks ago, it arose in my heart that we could all give ourselves a hug. And I had the aspiration and intention to offer that each week. And then all these other things happen, and I don't have the full 15 minutes for the close, and I keep forgetting. So I'd like to invite you to give yourself a hug. I like to go skin on skin, but you do you. Some people will do a little one. I get all up in there because that's how I like to do it. And your body, it doesn't know it's you. I like the warmth of the skin contact, but really you do you. And hang out in it for a minute. Plum Village would like to do the 3 breaths. I'm not really into breathing meditation these days, so I don't language it that way, but rest down, rest in, feel that hug. Feel that, I got you. I got you. Showing up for yourself, just as you are, completely imperfect, completely human. Feel it. Like BK was guiding us, feel it. Different language, but the same message I've been offering. Feel it. Can you meet yourself just as you are, whatever is here, the joy and the gunk? Reality. And may you take this capacity to meet yourself, to feel yourself, to be present to the moments arising. May you take it with you as we say goodbye this evening. May it be available to you more often because you've practiced it, because you've cultivated it, so that you're there with yourself, with whatever is going on, the wonderful stuff and the not so wonderful. As we cultivate our capacity to meet the moment, we can meet more moments. It's just what happens if we practice it. If we practice it, we can practice it formally, like Jim was talking about his morning practice. You can practice it formally by gathering in Sangha. And you can practice it throughout the moments of your life, the moments of your day. Just checking in, how you doing? I got you. Feeling your feet, feeling your seat, returning to your heart, to your gut. Any form of embodiment. Any form of embodiment. Next week, Kayleigh will be back, so we'll get to sing together. We'll have a singer in the space leading us in song. And then the following week, we will attune to our ancestors. Now we're entering in the time of the year where the veil is thin. More contact with our ancestors, if we choose to make it. Blood, spiritual, land, all of them. Say hello to the Ramaytush Ohlone if you're here in the colonized land of San Francisco. Say hello to the Salish Squamish people if you're up over near BK. Say hello to the Ohlone over there where Jenna is. They're here. They didn't go anywhere. Us white folk, we wanted to erase them and vanish them, but good luck, Good luck. They're strong. Yeah, and notice how that lands in your heart, mind, body. And may you keep noticing. I invite you to notice what you notice now and always as you practice that. So with this first bell, massaging your body in preparation for standing. And with this next bell, we can stand. And I'd like the people on Zoom to know that in addition to the human voices that you've gotten to hear this evening from the physical space, we also have Wolf with us, a four-legged canine friend. So know that she is also in the Sangha this evening. So with this bell, we can stand. And Wolf stood up too. She was laying down. And then with this bell, we can bow to the Sangha in gratitude for our co-creation of Sangha. And then turn it around 180. Please repeat after me. May the fruits of our practice be of benefit to all beings. And then if you would give voice to anyone in particular who you want to offer the merit of your practice.
My coworker said I'm leaving behind.
Continuing to send Peggy love and Larry love. May the fruits of our practice be of benefit to all beings and bring peace and liberation to all.